Today I'm riding a very interesting bike, the 2020 Norco Optic. With 29-inch wheels, 140mm of travel up front, and 125 in the rear, you might think this bike is only for light trail riding, but Norco has gone and created a truly do-it-all bike. They've spec'd this bike with suspension and components you'd find on an all-mountain bike, and coupled it with geo numbers closer to what you'd expect to find on an enduro. A bike that's at home on those long climbs, but still a ton of fun on the descents. My favorite thing Norco is doing right now is their Ride Align system. This is where, through extensive testing, Norco recommends a bike setup for your height and weight. And this isn't just the simple recommended air pressure you often see, but gives you a ton of details like bar width, stem length and height, how many tokens to run, damper and rebound settings, and even tire pressure. You can even modify it to take into account your skill level and how you weight the bike. I'm really impressed by what Norco has created here, and you can find it on their website or as an app. So let's take the Norco Optic out for a ride on the North Shore. So I'm on the Norco Optic, the climbing machine, the bike of the year. I was really excited to get on this bike. Looks awesome, and it is awesome. 140mm of travel up front, 125 in the rear. Kind of a, I guess, a down country bike. Something kind of like on the spectrum from downhill to cross country. This bike is more on the climbing side, whereas say an enduro bike like mine is more on the downhill side. And what I'm really looking forward to is finding out if I really need all that travel. So far, climbs way better than my enduro or any other bike I've really ridden, and that is very nice. I don't need to flip the climb switches or anything like that. The suspension feels really good, really kind of supple. I can tell there's not as much of it, but feels nice. And I think this is a really good looking bike too. Mint green might be a little polarizing, but I like it. Whew. All right, let's keep climbing. Whew. All right, going down Corkscrew on the Optic. Not exactly the type of trail you would buy this bike necessarily to ride, but I wanted to come do my loop just to show that you could ride these trails on this bike. Whee. Like short travel with kind of enduro geometry, 65-degree head angle, 510mm reach on the extra large. I'm 6 feet, 6'1" with shoes on. So the 510mm reach is, I'm right in between a large and extra large. So I have this bike in an extra large, and then I have another bike in a large that I'll be trying out. But so far, this feels not too long, but on the janky trails, it'd be nice to have a shorter bike. Oh, that jump's pretty janky. I didn't want to rage across it. I definitely need to choose my lines a little more carefully on this thing, but for such short travel bike, handling the North Shore just fine. This is, I mean, whoa, one heck of an all-around bike. You want to do cross country, you want to do these downhill trails, you want to do big long days. I think this is probably the bike for you. Whew. All right, let's go to another downhill trail. So I set this bike up with the ride aligned which is more than just like suggestions. You know, more than just, oh, use this air pressure, use, you know, this many, this much pressure to fork, this much compression. It tells you like spacers in your stem, how high you should have your stem, bar width, tire pressure, the whole thing. Everything you'd need to know. And whoa, it's pretty spot on. So I'm treating this little poor bike kind of like my enduro bike. I probably could have jumped that, but so every now and then I get a comment that says like, oh, the enduro or the range or the capper is too much bike for the trails I ride, which is kind of funny. I mean, if that's too much bike for the North Shore, Whistler, Vancouver, Squamish, then where would you ride those bikes? I mean, I know there's places that are just as gnarly, maybe gnarlier, but we live in a pretty gnarly trail system. But I didn't really have anything to compare it to or sort of contradict that statement. You know, I've never really ridden a bike like this, a short travel, you know, smaller bike. And so I went extreme. I got this Optic to try out just to see if I really, am I using all that travel that I paid for? And so far, you can definitely ride the North Shore trails on a bike like this. At least these single black ones I've been riding that are pretty janky. But if these are the trails you ride every day, I'd probably go with something a little longer. This bike feels really precise. It feels like it wants to hit the right, you know, wants you to get right in that line, just hit the line right. And it is, you know, a little less forgiving than a big enduro bike, but I think I'm getting used to it already. Getting used to how I'll need to ride and choose my lines. And for how little travel this is, I mean, basically a cross-country bike. I think it's doing amazing. And the suspension feels really good. I really like the suspension kinematics that Norco have done. Feels really just spot on to what I like, at least. For a lot of bikes, I feel like the suspension can get pretty hard to tune, to figure out. It feels, you know, maybe kind of chunky or janky, or even with my enduro, I do feel the suspension is not perfect. It's just slippery. Now, is this bike for me? Is this the bike I'm gonna buy and have as my main bike? No, I don't think I'd buy a downcountry bike. It's not the type of riding I do right now. I'm not as concerned with getting up the hill and riding technical cross country quickly. I really like these downhill. You know, I like the janky, you know, rough stuff. I like jumps. I like drops. And this just isn't what this bike is made for. But, being said, it can do it. Here comes the technical climb, which is where I think this bike shines. So I'm beat, super tired, and this climb sucks, but let's see how we do.
It definitely is easier to just get up and get going on this thing. Normally when I'm this tired, there's no way that I would go up that climb. But no problem on this thing. Borderline enjoyable. Oh, and even that section. Usually I have to go around. This thing just climbs right over anything. I can definitely see why this bike won Bike of the Year. I mean, it can do pretty much anything. This might be one of the best all-around bikes that you could get. I mean, I did my normal enduro lap on this tiny little bike. I could just as easily just go ride some cross country right now. All right, time for the ultimate all-around test. This is Boogie Nights, a jump trail. And this bike is, I mean, I don't want to say it's not made for jumping, but it's not really something that comes to mind with this bike. But let's see what we got. Oh, new berm, awesome. Let's hit this jump just a little bit. I'm a little nervous to do big jumps on it. Although, look at that. Jumps all right. Okay, let's do the step down. It's jumping okay, let's see. Whee! Oh yeah. Okay. That step down's actually pretty sizable. Let's see, this drop. Nice. Oh yeah. Oh, awesome. So I think some people will say, you know, enduro bikes, that's the do-it-all bike, which is pretty true. I mean, enduro bikes can ride cross country and ride all that stuff, but I think if you really want to do it all bike, I think probably this one. Like if you really wanted to go out and enjoy cross country and you wanted to come to the North Shore and you wanted to ride these trails, I think the Optic is your best bet. It's pretty darn capable. So this bike can ride, you know, the single black downhills. It can do it. I don't want to make it sound like it's as easy as riding enduro. You do have to choose your lines, gotta be a little more careful. You know, it is a smaller bike, take that into consideration, but it can definitely do it. All right, that's it for today's test ride. Make sure you're subscribed because I got a lot more videos coming. And thanks to my patrons, I really appreciate them right now, especially, you know, because of all this craziness, my hours are half of what they normally are. So YouTube has been definitely my saving grace and has helped out a lot, and patrons are a big part of that. So big thanks to all my patrons over on Patreon. If you want to join our Discord, see these videos a week early, get discounts on things like Cushcore and Shut the F Up systems, go check it out. And I guess I'll see you in next week's video.